Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's Tim. I'm here with Maya, and this is the first in our Connected Camps webinar series for what it takes to run your own Minecraft camp. And today we're going to briefly go over all the different challenges, different goals, different technical requirements that between the both of us we've experienced in running all kinds of Minecraft-related workshops and camps through the past couple of years. So I'll give a brief introduction to myself. My name is Tim Young. I'm one of the curriculum developers at Connected Camps. So this summer, I'm helping myself, and other team members, Brennan and Seema and Victor, are developing the server, the server environment. The server environment, all the different activities that people will be doing this summer, and like organizing the structure for the moderators for our summer camp. And Maya, brief introduction.
Hey, I'm the director of LA Makerspace. We work with the Los Angeles Public.
Oops, I think we have a bit of a... I think you dropped out just a minute. You can start over.
Oh, no. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Maya. I'm the director of LA Makerspace. We work with the LA County Public or the LA Public Library system to integrate things like Minecraft and Scratch coding and robotics into what the library offers to the kids and youth. And and given workshops to the public in Minecraft.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. And at least for me, I can speak to some of the goals that I've experienced when that we set out when making our Minecraft camp. So like mainly the whole goal of the Minecraft camp is to get people creating and producing and working and collaborating with one another in an environment that they're really excited about, right? So I think all of us know that Minecraft is a really fun game that everybody is super engaged with, and like have created these amazing communities and amazing creations around them. And I know personally from a lot of my own experiences, the things that people make during the camp like really blows me away year after year. And some camps that I've worked on have mainly been virtual. I think this past summer I collaborated with Maya to do an offline camp, which was really fun. Could you talk a bit more about the librarian workshops that we worked together this summer, and like how the librarians approached you, or you approached them to get that set up?
Yeah, I think that the interest from the librarians is really strong. I think it's because in their kind of ground level.
Oops. I think we're gonna have a few times we're cutting in and out. Sorry, you might have to start over really quickly.
Okay. Is there anything I can do, Tim?
Maybe we might just have to. Might try turning off the video really briefly and see if
turn
that
off
helps.
the video.
Yeah.
Okay.
See if that helps.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, the librarians in their work directly with kids every day, they hear the word Minecraft constantly. Mm-hmm. They tell me, and so they definitely have a strong interest in it as somewhere that they can meet the kids where they're already interested. Mm-hmm. But I think that not a lot of them understand why it's important to use as an educational tool. And I think that they've really asked us for help in how they can explain to parents why it's important. So what's exciting is that there's a community around this topic, that there was a summit that Microsoft put on here in LA where a lot of educators that utilize Minecraft came together and kind of, we're continuing that conversation via Facebook group. But it's sort of like, one of the analogies that we heard there was that it's like paper and pen in a way. Anything that you could teach a kid, through having them write a paper on it, you can also teach them through creating it in Minecraft. Like, the pyramids, you're studying the pyramids in ancient Egypt, you can actually experience that environment, creating it collaboratively together. But there's another, case where we were doing a Kickstarter for our library programs, and I actually made a little video about the importance of Minecraft, and I went and interviewed some kids to see what they felt they were learning from it. And there were kind of two major ones. One that, they pointed out that they had learned some math without realizing they were doing it when they were working with their inventories.
Yeah. And
they also compared the process to writing, which I thought was very interesting, because you start with an idea and then you make drafts of it until you get it the way you want it. So it kind of teaches you that, iteration and perseverance that we want to teach in a lot of our programs.
Yeah, awesome. So as we kind of move forward to the technical requirements, like we're going to jump into like kind of the exact technology you might need to to run a Minecraft camp, feel free to ask questions in chat. We'll it's really informal where we'll just answer them along the way. And anything, any questions you have, we'll do our best to answer them. And of course, there are like a couple more episodes later, and you might get your questions answered now, later, or whatever. So really quickly, like just some of the really brief technical requirements you need. Obviously, well, in our experience, we've run a lot of our Minecraft camps through the PC version, right? And that's not to say it's restricted to PC. You can obviously use an Xbox or PlayStation or even Minecraft Pocket Edition, which is probably one of the more popular versions. The reason why we use the PC version of Minecraft to run our Minecraft camp is because it lends us a lot of moderation tools. So you run your own server off a computer, and through that, through running it off your own computer, you can add extra plugins, extra mods that can make administrating the server a bit more easier for you and like other moderators. If you do choose to use it, do choose to play a Minecraft camp off, PlayStation or Xbox or Pocket Edition or anything like that, you just won't have those tools available to you, which is fine, especially if it's in person and you can go up to people and moderate them and make sure everyone's on the same page, in the same room. But from my experience running it virtually, like the moderation tools on a PC are like absolutely necessary. And then so from that perspective, you do need like the game on PC, which costs, I think, is like about $27 per account. And then in terms of the make sure that most of the laptops or the desktops that you have meet the technical requirements for Minecraft. So if you visit their website at minecraft.net, you can go look at their technical requirements and just make sure that the game is not going to stutter as you run it, because that's just going to be a poor experience for the players. Other than that, probably one of the more trickier points of running a Minecraft camp is a stable internet connection, though you can probably get away with a local area network. And I think working with the libraries, we had some difficulty with the internet connection. Like, do you think you can speak more towards that?
Yeah, we've definitely gone with using a local area network with all the libraries, because they just don't have robust enough Wi-Fi connections in order to even do most things, let alone Minecraft. So we found that works pretty well, though.
Yeah, so in an environment like a library, like where unfortunately not every library has a consistent internet connection that we can essentially log into a server that's offsite. The Connected Camps team, me and Victor, like deploy kind of our own local area network solution that he'll talk about in the next webinar. But that's a really great way to kind of get around some technical restrictions that multiplayer Minecraft has. And I think like in the past couple of years, it's gotten a lot easier to run your own local area network game of Minecraft. And I guess I should probably explain what a local area network is just you are all on the same wireless network, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have to use the internet to like contact a server off, outside your room or something like that. You are just in, as the word describes, your local area network. So yeah, that probably covers most of the technical requirements that you'll need to look up: an account for your Minecraft game, a PC that meets the minimum technical requirements, which is really important because unfortunately, the game is not too flexible on the technical requirements. Either a consistent internet connection or a local area network, which you could just set up with your local router. But then probably one of the more important things is like the non-technical requirements, which is like getting the right people to do it, right? So you probably need a Minecraft expert, or at least some kind of gamer who's familiar with these types of games, to help set up these kind of environments over the summer. And Maya, like when you were putting together the librarian workshops, like what kind of people were you looking for to really make this kind of thing happen?
Well, we've kind of taken a team teaching approach because you need to be able to work with kids, and you have to have the Minecraft background. And you also, there's like different levels of Minecraft background you can have. There are people that have already run their own servers, which is someone that we need on the team in order to make the Minecraft in a box, possible. And then there are people who are players and also have some experience teaching kids other things. So we've been able to find people like that, and that's who we needed in order to run it.
Awesome. Yeah. I think, one more thing to add to that point is like you probably, if you are lucky enough to find a couple people who can kind of work in a more staff or volunteer capacity. Maybe if your camp is skews towards a younger demographic and you have a few older kids coming in, that's a perfect opportunity to also put them in the role of moderators and administrators to make sure things aren't going haywire on the server, make sure people are, respecting boundaries and keeping to their own creations and more or less just, creating awesome stuff. So, I guess we can go into more of like the different types of camps that we've experienced with. So for me, I've mainly worked in virtual camps, but this past summer or this past year, I've worked with Maya in offline camps. But have you like checked out any offline camps like other than the workshops that we've done in the past?
I haven't actually.
Yeah. So to just give a run through of how the offline camps function, they're more or less kind of like a LAN party. So, that's a bit of jargon in kind of the gaming community for like you get a bunch of computers together, hook them up to a network and play together. And if you guys, if anyone who's watching or in chat is familiar with putting on a LAN party or know what a LAN party is, then you're probably like 90% of the way there of getting your thing set up. The other 10% really comes from the activities you plan or the different ways you engage with the players in the camp. So, for the offline activities, what I did in collaboration with Maya over the librarian workshops, there was a lot of activities focused around not just building and making stuff in the game, but also using resources that are outside the game, engaging with communities that are outside the game, because the game is, the gaming community for Minecraft is, enormous, and they provide a lot of tutorials and resources and build strategies to approach the game. So if a player is really interested in, making the Eiffel Tower or building like a redstone circuit or building a special roller coaster, it's not a matter of just, not a matter of just working together with the people right next to you, but also looking online and connecting with more people that way, whether through videos or blogs or anything like that. So, Mike, could you speak maybe from the administrative perspective, like how the librarian workshops went from a more offline setting?
Oops. Well, I mean, you mean the ones where we taught the librarians, or the ones where we are teaching the public?
Oh, probably like a bit of both.
A bit of both. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, for the librarians, we definitely had them look at videos, had them find, things that they wanted to build offline and utilize those. For the workshops with the public, with the kids, there is actually a lot of familiarity going in with Minecraft, but most of the kids have not played on a PC. They've only played, tablet or phone versions. So we've been able to kind of really just jump right in to have them focus on building things collaboratively. And
awesome. I think we got a question in chat about the minimum age requirement, which I'm actually not. I think I can look it up right now for the game. I mean, technically, it's a game for. I don't know if it's actually rated, but it's a game that definitely appeals to a wide range of players. We have some kids who are like as young as 6 years old playing on these camps, and some people as old as they have kids themselves. So I think one thing to keep in mind is the game is really appealing to anyone of all ages, and there's nothing really there to be wary about. There are monsters in the game. There is like concepts of dying and death and killing other monsters and farming animals to survive, but other than that, there's nothing really too crazy about the game that might push people away. I think in terms of minimum age requirements, the one thing that this is actually kind of a bit of a point we'll bring up later, but a thing to consider is a lot of the online Minecraft experience is going to be new for people. So like kids who are around 6 years old or like 6 to 9 years old, this might be their first online multiplayer experience ever. And like there are a lot of social skills that you have to bring into an online environment to kind of play nice with everyone else. And I think that's a big part of the value of running these kind of camps is like getting people used to working virtually in a collaborative environment online, which is completely different than working with someone in the same physical space, which has been really interesting to watch evolve over time. Another question I think we've got is Pocket Edition better for younger kids? I don't think one version is necessarily better for each other, but I think the version that's best for the players that you have in mind is the one that they're the most comfortable with. So, there's no like real definite answer for it, but if, you have a group of players who are absolutely like attached to Pocket Edition, you're not going to lose a lot, by just staying on Pocket Edition. I mean, there's some trade-offs between all the versions, so I can say the Pocket Edition, it's probably a bit more difficult to set up like a virtual server that everyone can log in from home. Other than I haven't looked at how that's evolved in the past couple of years. You probably need to be in the same room to play, which is probably ideal if a lot of people are young enough to be really attached to Pocket Edition. And as an administrator or as a parent, you may not have as much administrative tools to like, help players out if they get stuck or if someone's kind of being, if someone's overstepping their boundaries, it's harder to moderate that. But I think the great part about Pocket Edition is you kind of require them to all be in the same room to play together. I believe like the official supported multiplayer in Pocket Edition is like a local area kind of multiplayer. So that's probably like the really big pro of Pocket Edition is like you can still get everyone in the same room and they can work together and all that stuff. So there's no real right answer for it, and you're pretty much you're pretty much good with whatever you go. Let's see. So and on the other hand, with Pocket Edition compared to PC Edition, I think Maya, you can definitely speak to this, is computers in general are just very expensive, right? So like most people who do have a mobile device, that's like their primary device, so they're not worried about upgrading their computer. So you can stick kind of with your mobile device and play Minecraft on there and it'll work fine. Yeah. Let me just make sure, catching all the questions here. Awesome. All right. So I think the next point that we have to make, so we just got off our previous experiences with the online and the offline camps. And the other thing I can speak to is probably the activities that we can plan. So, we've run a variety of activities in the librarian workshop and in the virtual camps that we've done in the past. Mike, can you talk a bit more about the activities that we did with the librarian training?
You know what? It's actually been quite a while, and I didn't get to take that class. I was just filming, so I'm a little less clear on what the actual activities were for that.
Cool. Yeah, that's no problem. I remember, so when we were doing a camp for librarian training more geared toward adults, I believe a lot of the activities were geared towards just how to play and how to, how to play, how to move around in the world, how to place blocks. And like as a new, for a lot of people who've never played games like this before, and especially when they're older, it can get a lot of, it takes a while to get used to. And I think, Mike, you maybe like talk to your experience about like even just getting into this game when you've never played a lot of first-person shooters or first-person types of games before, like what challenges you had to overcome?
I mean, I can definitely speak to, the experience of being a first-time Minecraft player that's not a gamer. Mm-hmm. It was tricky to learn really basic things like how to walk around, how to place blocks. Mm-hmm. It's, the controls, like any controls on anything, take a bit of getting used to. I think that watching a lot of videos on YouTube helped me prepare, because before I did that, I was just completely perplexed about what you actually did or what the point of it kind of was. And so watching people play through and hearing their commentary and actually reading some of the comments like helped me get a little bit more of the culture involved, which was helpful, because then it became more interesting to me just based on that. But yeah, I mean, I think it's important to learn how to relate to Minecraft just on a cultural level, because it is like the world that kids are growing up in.
Yeah.
Which is kind of mind blowing.
Yeah. So you said you watched a lot of YouTube videos to help you get, get more familiar with the game. Like what kind of things were you looking for in those YouTube videos?
I was kind of looking to identify with the experience of the player. Like I wanted to look for what things they were looking to get out of the game, what things were positive events for them in the game, what things were negative events in the game. And it was just a way to learn my way around the world of Minecraft through the eyes of people that were really good.
Cool. Yeah. I think I remember thinking back to librarian training. So like I'm someone who's played games a lot, and like teaching people kind of what it means to actually move around in this world. Like for some people that can even cause a bit of motion sickness because it's a first person experience. But I think the thing I would normally tell them is like it definitely gets better with time, right? Like this is almost, I don't know if this is like an accurate description, but it's almost like getting your sea legs when you're playing this game. Like it's a completely new way of how you think about moving around in the virtual world, and that's a big thing to overcome. Maybe even before starting your camp, it's like even understanding what it means to move around in this world. Though the kids probably have it down pretty well. Most of the challenges for the kids that we run these workshops for and we run these camps for, the kids have a really great and deep understanding a really great and deep understanding of like how to play the game and the advanced builds they can do and like the crazy stuff that you can make. So mainly the activities that we structured around the camps that we did is to like really put some incentive to get people to work together and get excited with one another with what they're building, and also impose some challenges that they have to work together to solve, or like new ways that they can kind of express their own creative builds. So like one very specific activity that we did is like we would normally break them up into groups, and each group would have to like build towards a certain theme. So like one theme would be a roller coaster, or one theme would be a dungeon, but they could only build it with a very specific amount of blocks. And even though this kind of limited the scope of like what they could exactly build and how far they could build it, they still like worked with one another, and they collaborated with one another, and they looked online, and they like threw ideas against the wall and iterated on a bunch of different approaches, and still came out with something really amazing and really awesome. And they were really engaged with one another, even though we kind of like put a few boundaries around exactly what they can build. But that was like the perfect seed to get them going and get them building. And actually, like, it's just like a great icebreaker in general for in these camp environments. So yeah, so that more or less covers the kind of the activities that you can plan, which is for maybe more towards parents or more towards adults, for people who haven't really played the game. A lot of it is just getting your feet wet, working together, placing blocks in the world, learning what it means to move around in the virtual world and talk to each other. But for the more advanced players, it's more about getting them to work together, getting them excited about the same project, getting them to collaborate and like exercise those teamwork skills in a virtual environment, which luckily once you get them going, actually pretty much runs itself at that point. But I think probably where a lot of camp administrators may run into the most challenges are like all the technical ways that things can break down, right? So I remember, Maya, like when you were talking to the librarians, like what kind of technical challenges did you have to try to overcome in getting a Minecraft camp into like a librarian setting?
Well, we kind of tried to think a way out of most of the challenges in advance. Like we bring our own computers for the kids to use, so it's not really a case of them having to prepare the computers for them. But that being said, we've definitely encountered some interesting challenges along the way. Like one of the big ones is that Minecraft wants you to have the latest version, so it tries to update itself. And if there is a recent update, the available library Wi-Fi that we're using the LAN for the game, but it wants to update Minecraft through the available Wi-Fi, and then it usually isn't capable of doing that. So that can be a problem. Yeah. So we updated it in advance. Then another like just little funny thing is that a lot of the computers before the first time that they log on to the local network, they want to go online first, just for like a second, and then they can go onto the local network. Yeah. No idea why, but that's another thing that can be tough in a library setting. Yeah. So yeah, those are the two big ones that I've noticed so far.
Yeah, like it's pretty important to make sure that all the versions of Minecraft are on the same version too, which is something we probably should have noted in the earlier, in our earlier discussion about the technical requirements. But it's like there's all these little gotchas that unfortunately kind of get in the way between having the idea and then actually running it. So like you do kind of require some kind of persistent internet connection, whether you have to update each computer one at a time, or maybe you have a mobile phone or a mobile device that updates automatically. You do have to go through an update process to make sure that everything is in sync for multiplayer. So yeah, that was probably, I would definitely say like that was the biggest hurdle when we were doing these librarian workshops. Let's see if we have any questions really quickly. So one question we got was, how do you decide if you run a LAN or online server? I think the answer to that is, if possible, you should probably do an online server because it's easier kind of to set up. Like if everything in your house has a great internet connection and you can log onto a server offsite, it's pretty easy to do, to like buy server space or set up your own server and get that running. But we only really approached the LAN server because we were working with a lot of environments that did not have that persistent internet connection or like reliable interconnection, or reliable internet connection. So I think LAN definitely has its benefits because you don't expose, or you may not, if you're using a public server, people don't have, or if you're using a public server, you might encounter other people if you don't take the right precautions. Or if you're using a LAN server, like that may depending on how you set up your LAN server, it may kind of shut off your computers from the rest of the internet, and then you don't have access to all those resources. So I guess to very much more specifically answer that question, I would probably recommend you use an online server like whenever possible, just because it allows you to look up the videos you need, looks up the wikis you need, look up anything you need online to work while you're playing, or to look up while you're playing. But I would definitely investigate looking into a LAN server if you're concerned about the internet. If you're concerned about opening up your servers to like anyone in the world, even though you can probably take precautions to whitelist or like ban people who aren't welcome, or blacklist people who aren't welcome. And if I would also recommend running a LAN server if you're just into like a technical challenge of getting that up and running. Like you can learn a lot from just trying to get a LAN server up and running about your own network in your house and things like that. So yeah, it's mainly comes down to like how consistent the internet is and wherever you're working. Mai, do you have anything to add on to that, like LAN server versus online servers?
I haven't worked with online servers, so I don't know if I could really say.
All right. Yeah, that's no problem. Any online server recommendations? I think so. You can purchase online servers through Minecraft Realms, which is a service by Mojang that lets you purchase kind of server space from within the game. We'll be offering online servers with connected camps through the summers, and we're making sure that those servers are safe and have the right tools for everyone to feel safe and that their boundaries are respected. And then there are also ways to purchase other servers online if you just I'm sorry, this is like copy and answer, but you can just use Google to search for like Minecraft server space because there's just a lot of services offering them. I think we use, I can't remember it off the top of my head. Maybe someone in chat can answer, but we used one particular service, and a lot of them, most Minecraft server services, the things that you should look for are, do they offer additional moderating tools? Do they offer like a web dashboard that you can kind of turn the server on and turn the server off from a web page? And those are probably the two main things you should look for in terms of tools that will help you. And definitely if you can talk to a human being on the other end of the line through chat, that's a bonus too for support as well. And also when it comes to the LAN server, the next webinar episode with Victor, we'll talk more about how he set up his own kind of Minecraft in a box solution to a LAN, or excuse me, to the LANs that we use at the libraries. All right, and that will be next week, Thursday at 4 Pacific. So if you're interested in setting up your own LAN environment, that will be definitely the time to tune in. So I guess the last thing we'll talk about, probably the most important thing to really consider when running your Minecraft camp, is griefing. And Mai, I'm sure you're a bit familiar with what the term is.
Yes, I am. Yeah. Griefing is going and messing up other people's stuff for fun.
Yeah. And it's not the most spectacular thing that you have to deal with. So I think one specific example would be if, Maya was building a house, a nice house in our server, and I go up to it and I just like start breaking stuff and I start tearing things down and setting things on fire, because one thing to consider about the game is you can build anywhere, even on other people's stuff. She probably wouldn't appreciate that very much. And the unfortunate reality is some people do this just for fun. And that just is a problem that you have to approach the player and talk to them and tell them that this is not okay. So ground rules are really important in establishing what is okay on the server and what is not okay on the server. And those cases in which someone is maliciously doing it, I think the approach is pretty straightforward. You can impose a ban, you can impose a kick, you can impose something where they're restricted from playing on the server from a certain amount of time. But probably the more difficult problems are when someone comes up to us and says there's a griefing problem, but you go and investigate and you realize that the other player is new and they have no idea what they're doing, which is more or less the case that we have with Minecraft camps, right? Because a lot of the kids are much younger, never really played online, so they don't really know where the boundaries are when it comes to building or messing with other people's stuff. And griefing more or less is, in the times that we've experienced it, has not been intentional by the other player. So in those situations, we have a really big policy on like making sure that all our players are talking to each other and all our players are sharing their intent with one another, where they want to build, what they plan to do, and working things out between themselves. Because a lot of the time when something breaks, they come to us immediately. And what we want to kind of reinforce is they should work together to resolve these conflicts on their own. And of course, as staff and as Minecraft, experts, we should be there to moderate. But really, like a lot of the griefing issues that we encounter can be resolved by just being very empathetic to all parties involved, and understanding a lot of players are new, but also understanding that players want their boundaries respected and letting them know that they can work that out between themselves. And so far, it's worked really fantastic between all the different parties involved. So Maya, I don't know if you have anything else to add on.
Yeah, I guess I would add there that one of the benefits of a local network is that you can turn off fire and TNT.
Yeah. That's actually true of online spaces as well, but that's actually very specific to a PC space. So like if you're running Pocket Edition or PlayStation or Xbox, unless something changed within the past couple of years, to my knowledge, you cannot disable certain items in the game that are usually used in griefing. So like items like TNT, buckets of lava, those kind of things that can really cause mass destruction, we've turned off on the Connected Camp server. But and other servers take the same precautions as well. But if you're running your own server, these are kind of things to look out for if you're working on a different device. Yeah. So I think the last, I think I just got a question, but I totally just got confused. I think the last thing we can touch on is like where you can go to, or what kind of things that you can look for to learn more about running your own Minecraft camp. So Maya, do you want to get us started into like one of the things that you went to learn more about the game itself, and maybe more how to run your own camp, or the things you look for to help you run your own camp?
Well, I think I've pretty much addressed what I did to learn more about the game, plus also, being able to participate in the Minecraft Summit. Mm-hmm. And I don't actually run the camps hands-on. I do have instructors who are more expert that do that. So I haven't looked into how to do it myself at this point.
That's no problem.
A little bit new to the game, so.
Yeah, like some things you can look up to, some things you can do some things you can look up to learn more about how to run your own Minecraft camp is definitely like how to run your own server. And some words to look up are like bucket server, bukkit, so bucket, bukkit server, or spigot, spigot. These are two kind of server modified servers that you can add plugins to help you moderate the server environment that your players will be on. And then again, this is speaking mainly from a PC perspective. Like from Xbox, PlayStation, or a mobile device, you probably don't have to worry too much about server administration on that end, other than like being present when things happen. But with those two specific modified servers, I'm sure everyone has heard about different mods that players request or different things people want to try out. With those two modified servers that I talked about earlier, anyone can join those servers. Where if you use something like Minecraft Forge or Tekkit or Feed the Beast, these are other terms that you can also like look into. Anything that really heavily modifies the gameplay, like any of those things, all players need to have those things installed on the computer, and it's just an extra barrier to entry. So things like Bucket and Spigot, anyone can join, and there's a huge community of plugin developers and people who are making better tools day by day that can help you add cool stuff on your server while not like restricting it to a lot of people who only have mods on their computer. And other than that, probably the number one thing to like go into your Minecraft camp with is like a lot of activities that really inspire you and the players to like do something really cool, right? So if you go on YouTube and look up, either someone recreated the entire world of Game of Thrones or built a computer within a computer game using the Minecraft redstone circuits, bringing these like really big challenge and epic activities into the game is something that's really going to drive a lot of people to work together and like build really awesome stuff. Awesome stuff in their own environment. So with that, I think we just talk a bit about our future plans. So Mai, do you have anything to say about the future plans of Minecraft workshops and libraries?
Well, really, it's about empowering and continuing to help the librarians deepen their skills so that they can lead these on their own without the help of outside instructors.
Yeah, for sure. And I think for us with Connected Camps, we're actually taking a lot of steps to investigate what it means to do workshops around coding in Minecraft this summer. So, we feel like we have really great experience with people collaborating and working with one another and bringing their own expertise into, our space. But when it comes to learning how to code or learning an expertise that's normally outside of Minecraft, how can we get people to the same level of proficiency as they do in their gameplay with a skill that is correlated with what they're interested in? And I think that's going to be a really exciting activity for the summer. It's going to be a really exciting activity for the summer to see how people respond to coding within the game of Minecraft and making their own robots and automated builds and stuff like that. So that's my future interests for a while. Let me just check the questions really quickly. We're across a couple chat rooms, so it takes a bit to check all the questions. So from the IRC chat room, I think, will there be a session on using mods? I believe next week on the Minecraft in a Box webinar, there will be some discussion on like what administrative tools you can use on modding a server. But really quickly, I can go over mods in general. So there are kind of two types of mods that you have to look out for. One are like really game changing mods like that are loaded through things like Minecraft Forge, Feed the Beast, and last one's blanking on me, and Tekkit. And these are mods that if you want people to play together on these mods, everyone has to have the mods installed. But the mods that we're really talking about, they're more like the actual term is plugins on Bucket and Spigot. These are plugins that only work that are only necessary on the modified server. So anyone with any computer or anyone who has a computer can join the server still without having to install anything extra. And that's what's valuable for us, so we can like open up our own servers to everyone else. Let's see. All right, and I think that about wraps up all the questions. Mai, do you have any kind of words to leave everyone in the chat rooms with?
Eat, sleep, mine.
Eat, sleep. That's, yeah.
No, just that, again, I'm someone who's very new to this, but it has definitely been something that I am excited about participating in, and there's all the tools provided for me to learn, thanks to Tim and his team. So I encourage everyone to go for it.
Yeah, I think the best way to kind of learn is get your feet wet with the game like as soon as possible. Like, it's not something that's intimidating at all. I mean, there's a reason why it appeals to a lot of people, is because it's really easy to get into, and it's really easy to get into, and it's like really appealing for everyone. It's just a lot of fun to play with, anyone of all ages. So definitely try it out, and hopefully to see more of you in the summer. But with that, I think our next webinar is going to be next week at 4 p.m. Pacific, next Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific, and it will go over kind of more of the specific details from our server administrator on how to get like a LAN environment set up and the right tools that it will take to kind of properly administer your local area server. So with that, see you guys next week at 4, and thanks for watching.
Thanks, everyone.